Hello and welcome back to the Nik Nak Podcast on the Nik Nak YouTube channel. We're going to be going into our Week 5 NFL picks. It's
Already a quarter into the season. Can you believe
yeah,
that?
past the quarter mark.
Man.
Season goes by fast, man. So we've already had a rash of injuries, and like now we have quarterbacks falling like flies this week. And what we're going to do here is kind of go through what my guess of the spread was, what Nick's guess of the spread was for this week, and what it actually is going to be. And we'll see who got closer, and then we'll make our picks based on the spread. So let's get started with Thursday night. The Arizona Cardinals head to San Francisco to play the 49ers. They could be without their starting quarterback, Carson Palmer, who suffered a concussion on Sunday. Bruce Arians expressed some optimism that he may be able to return in time for the game, but you never know with concussions. You can be
Yeah,
fine one day and be
he's
messed up the
he's
next.
going
So
through concussion protocol, and if he's not there, we got Drew Stanton running the show on the road in San Francisco. Doesn't look that bad. I mean,
yeah,
they've been looking competitive.
I think that as of right now, the Cardinals are the more talented team with or without Carson Palmer at quarterback.
Absolutely.
The receivers will probably take a hit. I mean, but they still have David Johnson in the backfield. I don't think it's gonna be that crazy of a swing.
Yeah. So I mean, let's look at the spread. I think we both hit it. I mean, pretty close. You had 4.5 as Arizona being favored on the road. I had 4. The spread is at 4.
Yeah, so you nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise there. I kind of felt like, I mean, Arizona's clearly the better team. Interesting to see once Carson Palmer's status is known, whether it's today or tomorrow. I mean, today's Tuesday, but it's Wednesday, probably on Wednesday. They're probably going to announce it, maybe Thursday morning. Is the spread going to move? And it might move up maybe a point or two. Because I think the spread is indicative of Carson Palmer's status.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree completely. I think yeah. I think we this one's a pretty easy one for both of us.
So
You
what's
go
I'm
ahead.
going to ask you what's the deal with Arizona? I mean, 1-3. There were Bruce Arians was a preseason coach of the year candidate. They come off losing games. They lost Los Angeles, lost at Buffalo, lost against New England. What's going on with them?
I wish I had an answer. I mean, if you remember last week, we debuted Knox Locks, and it wasn't a good one because I picked Arizona and the points, and
Nice, nice.
so Knox Locks is officially 0-1 for
Yeah,
its existence. And I mean, there's that offense is too talented. That offensive line was supposed to be one of the best ones coming into this league. You know about the receivers. David Johnson has been the top performing running back so far this year, I think, with the return of Le'Veon. Um, it's got to come down a little bit to Carson Palmer. Like he's not making the throws he was making last year. The
yeah,
defense has
dude.
been playing
I
fine,
mean,
but
13 points at home against the Rams last week. Like they scored like 30 plus points at home. It was a guarantee. Like Palmer throwing for 4 touchdowns.
yeah, I mean that's the only thing I can put my finger on. I can't imagine it's the defense. I mean they've been making plays.
Right.
I just don't know if it's
It's
enough.
shocking because with the emergence of David Johnson last year, you would think they'll become more balanced. Because I mean, David Johnson didn't
Yeah,
emerge till like the last half of the season, even like a quarter of the season, and now they have arguably the top 2 running back. I mean, besides Le'Veon Bell, that can do everything, and they're still struggling on offense. It's really surprising. Um, Before we move on, if one team's going to make the playoffs, Cardinals or the Panthers, so they're both 1-3, both preseason Super Bowl contenders.
I'm gonna go with. I'm still gonna say the Cardinals. I think that the division itself is proving to be a little bit easier than the South is turning out to be. As of right now, the Falcons are much better than we thought they were, and I think it's gonna be a tough road for the Panthers coming and overtaking them now. I think that the Rams are still the Rams, and Jeff Fisher is still the coach. And until that's not the case, I'm not gonna pick them to be a 10-11 win team.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm not sold on Seattle yet. I think they have a lot of flaws with offensive line, but we'll jump into that. Real quick note: 80% of the public's on Arizona, so people like Arizona the spot. I'm not surprised. Obvious public favorite almost every week.
Yeah, it's Thursday night though, so I'm gonna stay away from that game.
Yeah, Thursday night. Those games are just crazy.
Anything can happen. So moving on, we got the return of the deflator. Just kidding. Return of the king, Tom Brady this
He's
week.
back from Italy, or
He's
wherever he
back from
was.
Italy, back from sunbathing, back from playing catch with Giselle. Um,
Wait, by the way, did you see him webcamming with like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's hilarious. They're like arguing who's like closer to Tom Brady. Tom Brady's just like sitting there, and like Ben Affleck and like Matt Damon are like fighting over each other.
That's Boston royalty right
It's
there.
funny. There's so much bromance with so many dudes with Tom Brady. Like I saw Edelman like Instagramming, tweeting all these things. Like Gronk's like going crazy on social media today. Like, oh, he's back, he's back. It's just funny.
I want to be boys with Tom Brady. You don't?
Oh yeah, no, but like the bromance, it's like, come on, bro. But okay, yeah, let's move into the game. We got the Browns. The Browns who may have should have won last week's game unless that mysterious
Yeah.
fumble.
The yeah. No, I mean that's I don't know. I couldn't explain it. Someone came out of the pile with the ball and didn't get awarded the possession. I don't know what happened in the pile. What they
He's like
saw.
holding the ball. He's like, I have it. The lady
And then
ref's
meanwhile,
Redskins ball.
meanwhile, the refs looking in the pile like, oh, where is it? Where is it? I gotta find it. And no, that's you couldn't find it, but the Redskins got the ball. We got the win. That's all I really care about. So, but this week, I thought it was gonna be a huge line. I think I predicted a little bit higher than you did. I predicted it to be Browns plus 11, and you predicted
8.5.
plus 8.5. And from what I saw, it was plus 11. And of course, our lines are coming from Bovada.
Yeah.
And any line that they don't have, I check with I check other sources, but for the most part, our lines are coming from Bovada. So the plus 11 is from there, and I nailed that one on the money. So we're tied 1-1 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to have to ask you who you want this game, but does Cleveland have any shot? I mean, yeah.
Oh, we didn't pick the Thursday. We didn't pick Thursday night game, did we?
I think we kind of both inferred that we're taking the Cardinals, but what are you doing?
So we did. So yeah, I'm taking the Cardinals. So
Yeah. So with the Patriots, I mean, Tom Brady's back, but also Ninkovich is back too. You're gonna see Gronk more healthy this game. Everything just seems like it's clicked for them, and angry Tom Brady, nothing better than it. I mean, I can't see how the Browns are remotely competitive.
yeah, I can't pick against Tom Brady in this game. The kid Kessler did look good last week though, at points.
Yeah,
Maybe
he
that's
did.
because of our defense, but
No, but like at the same time, like he didn't look rattled for a young rookie. You know, I mean, he looked like he had a lot of game, and I was really impressed with Terrell Pryor. I mean, that guy really surprised me first half. Second half, he kind of got shut down by Josh Norman. Yeah, don't do that, man. You might get fined.
sorry.
NFL's gonna holler at you. It's funny, you know. Our defensive player did like a sledgehammer dance, and no fine.
No fine.
And then like he's shooting bows and arrows. I'm like, okay, apparently that's insinuating violence.
I don't know what the story was. I don't know if the refs told him before the game or not to do it, but
So apparently he's been warned in previous games. So if that's the
yeah.
case, then okay, I got it. But I mean, whatever. We won that game. Who cares? So back to the game. Oh man, I don't see the Patriots will win by 20 points. But stranger things have happened.
stranger things have happened. I actually did see a stat that out of like their last 50 games, the Browns actually are the closest on average in margin of victory to the Patriots. That's kind of surprising. But and in either case, I'm still taking the Patriots. I think it's gonna be an angry game. I think Tom Brady and Gronk get like 10 touchdowns, and this one's gonna be a rout.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, can you see him starting off a little slow, like trying to press the issue? I mean, he may come off too excited. We've seen that, in sports all the time. It's like come back from injury,
Yeah, we
looking
do.
at shops. I mean, if anything, I think they might start off slow, and second half they'll just blow them out. So I kind of like the Cleveland first half spread. I think they might keep it around close, and second half, no one's better at adjustments than Belichick. So I think we're both on Cleveland. I mean, not Cleveland, New England.
We're both on New England.
Definitely not New England. And 80% of the public's on New England. No surprise there. Tom Brady's back.
Yeah. So all right, moving on to America's sweetheart Carson Wentz. Him and the Philadelphia Eagles visit Detroit. And Detroit's offense kind of sputtered since the week 1 explosion that we saw out of them. But Carson Wentz coming off a bye week, do you think that they're going to open up the offense a little bit more for him, or do you think that they just stay the course and let?
I don't know, because I feel like they're playing conservative with him at the same time. I mean, they're still throwing the ball a good amount. I mean, they're just not making some really risky throws. They know his, I don't say limitations, but as a rookie, he's new to the NFL. So I think Doug Peterson's done a great job of putting him in a situation where he's been super successful. And I mean, Jordan Matthews and Nelson Aguilar. I had Nelson Aguilar like a year ago in fantasy. I thought he was going to be a stud. He's really turning it around. They got offensive weapons, and their defense is really good. I mean, I love Fletcher Cox. I think their defense plays really hard. Detroit's just it's the same story every year, isn't it? It's just like so much like offense. I put quotations around it. I
quote
mean,
unquote. Yeah,
fantasy statistic offense, not real offense. Garbage time offense. There's no fantasy players you want more than the Lions because you get a lot of garbage time.
yeah. And I mean, there's one guy who's been disappointing this year, and that's Golden Tate.
Yeah.
No one knows what's wrong with him. He comes out last week with 1 catch for 1 yard. I think it
Yeah, so
was.
I had him in some lineups because I assumed like okay with Marvin Jones's emergence he's going to draw a lot of attention. No one throws the ball more than Stafford. You'd think Golden Tate would get more receptions. You know, I also saw a stat he only played half of the total snaps, so he wasn't even in the rotation the whole time.
Yeah,
So it looks like I mean there's something going on there. Maybe hurt, maybe he's not successful, but his routes and his snaps are going down too. So that's not a good sign.
all right, I'm just getting these really whack trade proposals today in fantasy. Someone just offered me Dexter Lackluster for Derrick Henry, and
Dude, honestly, I hate leagues like that when everyone's just trying to snipe the other person. Like we all watch the same things.
yeah,
Like you know when a trade's not fair. It's
yeah.
unbelievable.
Like I don't want the Chargers receiving scat back for for a guy who could potentially take over the Titans job when DeMarco Murray inevitably goes down.
So
But
I don't
that's
know
neither
about
here
you though,
here
but
nor
like at the
there.
same time, you don't want to offer too much, so you'll start a little low, and it's like, oh, how about if I add this player? And you're already fine adding that player B to the trade,
Yeah.
but you wanted to see what the other person said because if you don't have to give up player B, why would you?
And yeah, the best part is when that person comes back at you and calls it insulting to you. Like it's like, all right, I mean,
It's like really like
that
nice
was my
trade, dude.
that's kind of how you negotiate,
Dude,
isn't
I
it?
offered
So,
to trade to someone today, and he was like, "Fuck no!" And then he posted a photo of my trade offer to the whole league. It's like, "Look at this idiot." I'm like, "You should see all the trades you offer me."
yeah, I mean, it's everyone kind of out trying to outsmart each other, and
Yeah.
it's not,
So,
we're all kind of noticing. So back to the game.
so I mean, yeah, I guess that the Eagles are favored by 1. You said 1.5. They're favored by 3 here
Yeah,
on the road. I mean, I know they're 3-0, and that looks nice and all, but that seems a little premature. You know?
I think it has a lot to do with Detroit's inability to stay on the field or sorry, keep teams off the field on third down. And Eagles are having one of the best success rates on first and second down, getting first down. So if you couple those two together,
Yeah.
people kind of think it's going to be favored heavily in terms of Philadelphia. And I kind of got to agree with them. I think that defense is performing way too well. That offense is not making mistakes. So
Yeah,
I think I'm actually going to take them with laying 3 points to Detroit.
So I like Detroit in the spot, and maybe a little biased to me, but I'm not a believer in Philly yet. So the only victory that for me spoke a lot was the Pittsburgh game at home. They beat Cleveland and they beat Chicago, arguably the 2 worst teams in the NFL. I know they don't control their schedule and they're still good wins, but I need to see a little more. And I'm just waiting for the rookie to mess up. I feel like it's got to happen. It's a
going
good
to happen.
spot on the road. It may not happen this week. It may happen next week. But I like the Lions in this, taking the points at home.
All right. Moving on to Chicago and the rare game after London for Indianapolis. I kind of was planning on Andrew Luck having a bye, but I guess they scheduled a game for them this year. So it was the same story in the last game. Andrew Luck is getting the shit beat out of him on every play. They fall to Jacksonville. They get a junk touchdown from Philip Dorsett, 64 yards, was the only catch of the game. Besides that, like
I swear. Go ahead. Sorry.
are you worried about Andrew Luck?
Yeah, it's. I swear, like that. Like they just come in every game, lay an egg first half, and then make some crazy run in the fourth quarter. It happens on and on. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, no, it
Like, they
happens
just
all the
start
time.
off so slow. I'm like, Pagano, what are you doing? Like, did you not prepare your players to come out? And then maybe it's because they're in garbage time. They get like softer coverage. So now Andrew Luck's like throwing dives in the fourth quarter, running
Yeah.
down the field. It's a little too late, you know.
I mean, I mean, me and you play each other in fantasy this week, and Andrew Luck's my quarterback in that league.
Yeah.
I woke up at around like 10:30, so it was maybe towards the end of the second quarter, and saw that he was still at around like 6 or 7 points. I mean, I wasn't even worried because I knew what was going to happen. Second quarter, he's going to come out and throw all over the place. He still only ended up with 19 or so points, but still, like I knew later on he's going to get some play that's going to inflate his score so much.
Yeah, it's so I was listening to the BS podcast this week, and Bill Simmons was talking about what Indianapolis has done with their team. Like they have all the salary cap, right? And they literally have one good player. Like where have they spent all this money? Where is
Exactly.
it? Like I don't know who's under contract. They have one All-Pro quarterback, pretty good receivers. I wouldn't say they have a receiver number 1 per se, and then they have mediocre to terrible players across the board. I don't know who they're paying.
Yeah.
Adam Vinatieri? I don't know.
It's literally Vontae Davis on defense, Andrew Luck on offense.
Yeah.
Frank Gore's still solid for
Yeah,
how old he is.
it's Frank Gore could be the third best player, and that's not an over exaggeration. Like that should not happen in the NFL team.
Not for a team that has a once in a generation quarterback the way they do.
So on the other side of the ball, we have Chicago Bears, and reports are showing that Jay Cutler might come back this week. Not that it really matters. Brian Hoyer looked okay last week. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing that we weren't shocked about. I mean, he's a veteran in his league, but so what do you think about this game?
I mean I think Jordan Howard did a lot last week.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. I was really
I
impressed
think
with
Jeremy Langford's probably not going to get that job back when he comes back, or at least not all of it. Um, I guess here that sorry, I think you have the lines in front of you, right?
Yeah, I mean, so you guessed the line at 3.5. I guessed the line at 3.5, favoring the Colts at home, and the line was 4.5. So we had the same guess, but Vegas thinks Colts might bounce back.
So I mean, I think the London factor is going to weigh in here. There's a reason that they try to give them a week off afterwards. I think the Colts are just a mess, and I think that Chicago steals one here in
On the
Indy.
road. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. I mean, I don't think Chicago has a better defense with him. They don't think they have a worse defense at the same time. They might actually have a better defense, actually. And they have more offense on more weapons on offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So this game's
Kevin
tough
White.
for me.
One thing to know is Kevin White might not play.
Yeah.
So if Eddie Royal's out there in your league, go ahead and grab
Yeah,
him.
he's
It should
been
be
playing really well last.
this
last
should be
week.
his annual multi-touchdown game that he gives you in fantasy. So
I don't know why. For some reason, I love betting on the Colts because Andrew Luck. I think they right the ship. It's a little high for my liking. I wish it was closer to 3, and I think Vegas knows that a lot of people like betting on Andrew Luck. I mean, 65% is on Indianapolis right now. I'm gonna ride Indianapolis. So
you're right, Indianapolis.
see what happens. Real
All right.
quick,
Yeah.
what's up with these London games? I feel like it's such a slap in the face that a team is forced to use one of their home games. Like I'd be more pissed if I was the owner. I mean, like there must be some like money incentives to the owners to do this.
Oh yeah,
really
there's
high
gotta-
money incentives.
like there's I mean people want to establish that market for their team. They want to be known as like global brand. They're gonna get some incentive for going over there and using a home game on it. But teams like that's why you're not gonna see a lot of teams like Washington or New York or New England using a home game to go over there. That's why when we go there in October, it's gonna be a Cincinnati home game.
Interesting, because I noticed that all the teams that host a home game are small market teams. I never really thought of it, but that's a good point.
So it's a good little bump for them. That's why Jacksonville wants to do it at least once a year.
Yeah, I mean, for them, it's like, fuck it. We're not going to make the playoffs anyway. So I'll use a home game and increase our revenue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a trend for a little while. So you're taking Indianapolis on this one. So next one's gonna be the most boring game of the week probably. Tennessee at Miami. Not really much to say here. Both teams are who they are. There's Mariota's been a little bit of a disappointment in the sophomore year. Tannehill's still Tannehill. They still haven't figured out their running back situation. I don't even know what to say to expand on that, but the Dolphins running backs are just a mess right now.
Don't tell me you were one of the believers in Aaron Foster for the season. I love Aaron Foster.
Absolutely
but
not.
I saw
No.
that coming. Like, who really thought he's going to play not 16 games, at least 10? There's no way.
Yeah, I think if you see him sitting on your waiver wire or anything, like good luck having faith in him. If you really must be in a dire situation. If you think he's going to make it through a whole game at this point. And this is exactly what we thought. He's going to get hurt in the second or third game. He's not going to be the same for the rest of the year. He's going to hold the rest of your team hostage. That's why I avoid him. I avoid him at all costs
So
every year.
interesting spot for Miami. I mean, they obviously had a Thursday game last week, so they've had 13 days off, like 10 days off, something like that. 10 days. They're at home here, and it seems that they would be 3-point favorites. The spread's at 3.5. I guess 3. You guess 2. Seems like you're respecting the Titans a little more than Vegas is.
Yeah, I think the Titans. I mean, they played Houston a little tough last week. They weren't. It wasn't an easy game for them, and I don't think Miami is on the level of Houston,
No,
at least in the way they're executing. So I think this game's gonna be a little bit tighter. I think that DeMarco Murray's rolling right now. Maybe Delaney Walker gets into the end zone in this one, but I don't think that is saying a lot. It's not much to assume that Tennessee's going to be a little bit better than Miami in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it right there. I mean, DeMarco Murray's been balling. Like, he's been playing really well. And we all thought that Derrick Henry would have a bigger part of the offense. He hasn't, because DeMarco's been playing that well.
Yeah.
So
For
kudos
the
to
record,
them.
I still think that at some point this year you are going to see Derrick Henry in a prominent role in that offense. But for now, there's no way that DeMarco Murray is relinquishing those touches.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really take him out of the game right now. I mean, not that Derrick Henry necessarily has been bad, but DeMarcus has been so good, complimenting Mariota. I like Tennessee too. I don't know if they're gonna win the game, but I think they cover. They might lose by 2 points. So spreads at 3.5. I mean, I'll take a field goal for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm gonna go with Tennessee in this game.
Yeah, but I mean, we're definitely not betting on this game. This is a
No,
terrible game.
absolutely not.
Like, if there was like women's badminton and this game on, I might like watch what women's badminton. I don't know.
Women's badminton.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a thing, and I don't want to make a whatever. Let's move on. Let's just
All
move
right,
on.
so now we move on to the Beltway battle. Our Washington Redskins are traveling
Battle in
to
'95.
Baltimore for a 1 o'clock game. Last week we had a kind of tough one against the Browns. Kirk comes out on fire, hits his first 8 or 9 throws. Two drives end in touchdowns to Jordan Reed. You kind of feel like it's heading for a blowout, but then in typical Redskins fashion, we let them back into the game.
Yeah, who's that? A shield texted us, was like, "Oh, this game's a rout," or someone. Well, it was one of my friends did. I'm like, "Hold up, we've seen this story before.
Yeah.
Let's not go down that path." And yeah, I mean, they came off at second half, playing really well. Obviously, that running offense, our run D is just terrible. We could not stop them. I thought our corners played exceptional, though.
They did. The secondary played really well. Terrell Pryor kind of had his way with Josh Norman in the first half, but they made an adjustment, and Norman came back in the second half and gets a big interception.
So yeah, I mean, no surprise here. I mean, I think we split the spread. I mean, you had 4.5 Baltimore favorite at home. I had 3.5. The spread's at 4. No surprise here. I mean, I think the public thinks Baltimore's a slightly better team than Washington, and there's a reason to think so. And
there's a lot of similarities in both. They both have underperforming defenses. Quarterbacks who spread the ball around. Joe Flacco's got more of an arm than Kirk does, but running game's kind of in flux right now.
Look at this. This is the injury. You might be able to see. This is the injury list of the Redskins. It's literally like a page and a half. It's unbelievable. Like, I'm just trying to go through who's like questionable and out.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is like questionable. Yeah, our whole D got banged up last game, and that kind of scares me at the spot.
Did you hear about the Redskins bringing in Dante Whitner for a workout today?
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
It's more of the same thing. It's Brandon Merriweather, it's Laurent Landry in his like later years.
Same thing. Like
heat seeking flag machines. Like it is what it is. Like I don't want that. That's not what's gonna help.
That's why I like Blackman, because Blackman's not gonna get burned, and he's a smart player. He may not lay you out like these guys will, but like he's a very smart player and he's good
Exactly.
instincts. I'd rather have safe than like having our top blown every long ball. But real quick, I want to talk about Deshaun Jackson, because he had like 1 or 2 catches.
Yeah.
But those 2 long penalties don't go in the stat sheet. But
They
he had a
don't.
50-yard pass interference and like another like 30-yard. That's literally 80 receiving yards that we moved down the field. Huge impact. I think he goes unnoticed every game still.
Absolutely. Yeah. And people thought that he might be a little bit upset after the last game, but I can't agree with that, because I mean he did draw those penalties. Kirk was looking for him to get the ball to him, and
yeah. I mean, it's the
he's gonna
same
get more of
output,
that.
right? He catches it, we get 50 yards. He gets a penalty, 50 yards. It's just in the stat sheet, it doesn't come up. Fantasy owners are like, "Oh, Deshaun sucks." I'm like, no, he actually helped us win that game. Take the top off the defense, and it's good seeing Jordan Reed get in the end zone, because I felt like he needed to get it out of his system.
That storm's been coming for a little while. Yeah, I'm glad he got in.
Yeah, and before we make our picks, I want to ask you about Matt Jones, because a lot of people still like are okay. They don't think he really played that well, and we kind of force fed him. That 22, 23 carries. I mean, he had 120 yards. He had a touchdown. I thought he ran really hard. I like the way he runs. Honestly, I don't know why. I'm a fan.
I mean, I'm still a non-believer until he does it to a team like, say, Minnesota in a few weeks, which I don't think anybody will this year. I'm not gonna come around on him just yet, but he has been playing well against the teams he should play well against. So that's.
So let me ask you something. So those good teams we play, how many carries does he typically get? 8 to 12. A lot of that's game flow. So that could rest on Jay Gruden. It could rest on Kirk Cousins. Could rest on our defense, and it's all one package. I don't know what running back does well with like 10 or 12 carries. But I mean, it seems like when we give him the ball, Also, why are we not running screen passes to him? Wasn't that like his thing
That
last
was
year?
his thing last year. Yeah,
And I think we made it run one, maybe all season. It's surprising.
I mean, his explosion. I still haven't seen it. There's been
Yeah.
times where he's running hard, but
I think
last year he
he's
was
trying
hitting
to
that
be more
hole, accelerating.
patient. And I think you got to find that balance. Like I mean, you see with Le'Veon Bell, he's really patient. And he gets to the line, then he turns it up to another gear right when he gets to like the tackle. So
Yeah, new drinking game. Take a shot every time Chris Collinsworth calls Le'Veon Bell patient
oh my god,
during a
yeah,
broadcast.
I was like, oh, I haven't heard that before. Nice.
My team name one of my team names where I have him is literally too much patience. It's actually written on this belt right here. Look,
Too much patience.
you can make that out. It says knuckle. Too much
man.
patience.
Flaunting. All right, man. Redskins, Ravens. Who you got in the spot?
I'm taking the Ravens.
Oh, don't do that, bro.
Actually, no, you're right. I'm gonna take the Redskins plus.
I think we might lose.
I think it's
by
gonna
a
be close.
field
I think it's
goal.
gonna be a close
I think we
game.
might lose by a field goal.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take the Redskins plus 4.
I don't want to
Change
sound like
my-
Eric, but I think we match up well against them,
Oh, okay.
against their receivers.
Oh, tell
and-
me how, man.
I mean, like I don't see Mike Wallace and Steve. I was just Stephen A. Smith. Steve Smith, torching our secondary.
I think Stephen A. Smith probably could score on our
Yeah,
defense.
probably. Absolutely. Actually. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think this would be a close game. I don't see a blowout in any direction. Crosstown rivals. We always play each other pretty tight whenever we do. So I think Redskins, cover. I don't know if they win, but I mean, I like covering them by a field goal.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I think it ends up being a close game.
Got the best kicker in the game though.
Yeah. So,
Hopkins.
by the way, I don't know if you saw the FanDuel prices this week yet. The days of Hopkins being cheap are over.
Skyrocketing.
They're done.
Yeah. Remember
He's
when?
up there.
Remember
He's
when,
up there next to Justin Tucker now.
Yeah, that's no good. Remember when Jordan Reed was like still like affordable last year, and like
Yeah.
people were like, "Oh, who's this injury prone guy?" And he was like literally middle of the lower pack of tight end ones, and he got a touchdown every week.
Oh yeah.
And now he's above Gronk, which
I think I saw today that he's like $600 more than Gronk. Let me double check this real
I
quick.
believe that. I mean, Gronk's hasn't shown you any reason to think that he's necessarily healthy.
Yeah, he's Jordan Reed is 7,800 and Gronk is 7,200. So, anyways, moving on. Houston at Minnesota. Minnesota's defense has been absolutely dominant. They're probably the best performing defense in the league right now, more so than Philadelphia. Sam Bradford's running the offense well. We saw Jerick McKinnon act like a human joystick that we know he is on Monday night this week against the Giants. Right now, Houston. One thing I want to bring up is what are your thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins?
It's funny you say that. I was just literally about to ask you that too. Well, this is why it's the Nik Nak Podcast, right?
Yeah.
Thinking the same. It's tough for me to understand this because Brock Osweiler loves the long ball, and obviously Will Fuller, that fits his skill set, but DeAndre Hopkins is no slouch at the long ball either. I mean, he made his name in the NFL by catching those long passes. He's still a possession receiver too. I'm really surprised that they're not really targeting that much, and I feel like when they are, they're just like throwing the ball up to him, like literally 50-50 balls. They're not actually running real routes. I know Bill O'Brien took over the play calling duties last week, and I thought that would have a big impact on getting Hopkins the ball, and he had one catch. So I know it's the emphasis, but hey, they won. Fuller had a big game. Are you really that worried if you're Bill O'Brien?
Yeah, I mean Fuller's been great. I mean they've kind of been saying that DeAndre Hopkins isn't getting the numbers because of double teams, but how is he getting double team any more than he was before when he was the only threat on this offense?
And now you have Lamar Miller, a top 5 running back, and you have probably the rookie of the year.
Oh, definitely. He's definitely the favorite right now. Or maybe him and Carson Wentz split it.
Yeah,
but
I mean, they're probably the favorites. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably chemistry, honestly. I mean, not that Brian Hoyer had chemistry with DeAndre Hopkins, but he definitely didn't have chemistry with anyone else.
Like in two different situations, I got asked about trades involving DeAndre Hopkins today, and I literally told the owners, it comes down to how you feel about DeAndre Hopkins. If you think that he's a top 5 receiver, do the trade or keep him, which depending on which side I'm talking to. But if you don't, then yeah, get rid of him. Sell high right now. But if you, I have him on my team in our league, and I think that he's gonna be back. I still think that he's a top 5 receiver that I drafted in the first round this year. And
Yeah,
I think he comes back and gets it done.
I mean, there's like three receivers I'm thinking about: Odell Beckham, Des Bryant, Hopkins, all probably top 10 picks. Not necessarily doing that well. That justifies that pick.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sell. Like, what's the point? These players are way too good.
Well,
You're only a
Des
quarter.
Bryant, I would sell on if you can do it.
Well, yeah, I mean that's part of the quarterback situation. But for the other two, like I can see like what's the problem with it. And
Yeah.
go to Des Bryant's point. I don't think he's developed the chemistry with Dak Prescott. And that's kind of what we're seeing with Osweiler. So I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully DeAndre comes back.
But I mean, if you're like I said, if you're the coaching staff and you're 3-1, are you really sweating it? I mean, like they don't play fantasy. We play fantasy.
We play fantasy, yeah. And
I mean,
as
Will
long as
Fuller's
Hopkins is a
killing
threat
it.
and Fuller's doing what he's doing, then yeah, I don't see it being.
I mean, so yeah, Will Fuller continues to catch these long balls. You think he's gonna get more attention, and hopefully that will kind of push the ball to Hopkins' side for ourselves. But
yeah.
so with the game, Minnesota is favored by 6. I said 6. You said 6.5.
We were close.
Not really surprised there. I mean, they've just been so good. Like, I've been so surprised. They're so balanced. We've seen Sam Bradford so many times as Redskins fans, and he just looks different. And I think part of it is not running that no huddle that Chip Kelly put him in.
Yeah.
It's kind of just, slowed down the game for him. And,
And I think he has the right weapons around him too. Zach Rudolph's been
talk about chemistry.
Kyle Rudolph's been great.
It's basketball season, man. You're already thinking about basketball season.
Yeah, I know. That Randolph, sorry. Levo. But yeah, so I mean the offense has been great. Jared McKinnon's been great. Matt Asiata's punching on the goal line.
I'm
So, yeah, I think
surprised
it's
you didn't
the
say
right
your boy
fit.
yet.
Wait, what?
Stefan.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
said
no.
Stefan yet, yeah.
I slipped him in really quickly. I mean, 'cause
Oh, you did? I didn't even
he's I mean, well, he hasn't had the best few weeks since he had his breakout game, but I'm still a believer in Diggs. So I mean, it's the right weapons around him. I think it's the right offense with Norv.
I actually didn't. Yeah, go ahead.
It's the right offense with Norv
Yeah.
and his son Scott Turner, who, fun fact, was the quarterback coach at my high school when I was there,
Interesting.
and now he's a quarterbacks coach in Minnesota. So I mean, I think Sam Bradford's running the right offense right now.
Yeah. I do think Minnesota wins. I just think that 6 is a little too high. I mean, Texans. I mean, they still have even with JJ Watt out. I mean, their defense is not bad per se. It's probably middle of the pack, and I like the way the offense. They can control the clock with Lamar Miller. I don't know if they can really run against this front in Minnesota, but I think they keep it close. I think they might lose by maybe 4 or 5. I don't think that Minnesota is going to win by a touchdown. I mean, I saw the Giants last night, and Giants had so many issues. They have a bad O line, which you bring in a bad O line against Minnesota's D line, you're in trouble. And
No, absolutely.
Houston's O line's a lot better. So.
No, I agree. I agree completely with everything you just said. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a win for Minnesota. So I mean, I agree. I think that Minnesota's gonna win, but I don't think Houston's gonna be more than touchdown behind. So I will take Houston plus 6 points.
Kind of like this game. I mean, I don't say it's my lock of the week, but this game's appealing to me. We'll see. We'll see though.
Yeah. All right. So
We're
moving
also
on.
in a dome too. We love getting dome quarterbacks in a dome. Brock's played in a dome at home. He's going to another dome.
And tell me more about domes, dude.
Dome.
So we got next up we got the Jets visiting Pittsburgh. In this game, Ryan Fitzpatrick coming in has about I think I have the number written down here. Last 2 games, 73 picks in his last 2 games. What is wrong with Ryan Fitzpatrick right now?
Yeah, there's a lot of issues there. I don't necessarily know. I mean, it's just it looks like he's making bad reads. He takes a lot of chances, and he got away with it last year. He's finally catching up with him. Looks like Decker may not play this week again. I mean, big loss for them.
At what point do you look at this and say Bryce Petty and Christian Hackenberg can't be any worse than this, or dare I say it, Geno Smith?
I do think it's a little too early, but they got to be thinking about it because I mean, so someone asked me, one of my friends texted me this week was like, "What's wrong with the Jets?" And I said their secondary is old. Like I think that's literally what it comes down to because I think their front seven's still very good, and you see like just holes in the secondary. The secondary was so stout for years, and like Ryan Fitzpatrick could get away with these games if the defense were playing with the Jets defense from a year or 2 years ago. But they're not the same defense, and that's putting more pressure on Fitzpatrick. And Matt Forte, I mean, we saw that 3 touchdown game, but we haven't really heard much from him since then. Brandon Marshall's been banged up. We talked about Decker. Decker's banged up. There's a lot of problems with the offense that goes beyond Fitzpatrick. But at the end of the day, he's the one throwing the picks, so it's all going to come back to him. They're in some trouble, honestly. I think they're in their head. They're like, this is why we didn't pay Fitzpatrick for a long-term deal.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that you're gonna see Matt Forte's touches come down a little bit if they want to sustain him throughout the whole year, and that's
Yes.
only gonna put more pressure on the quarterback position.
So I put Steelers favored by 5.5. You had it really close at 8. The spread's at 7. I mean, I'm not really surprised. I mean, we saw what Pittsburgh did to KC.
Yeah,
Looking back on that, I don't know how I didn't bet more on that game because Pittsburgh was just in a good spot coming off that Philly loss. It just seems like you could tell from the first quarter what game is going to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
oh yeah,
Everything's clicking. Le'Veon fit in perfectly. There was no adjustment period there.
yeah. He came back. He came back and looked exactly and reminded everyone why D'Angelo Williams was hitting the bench.
He did play a lot in the slot as a receiver, more than I've seen before. I know Tomlin said they're going to try it more, but I was actually kind of shocked how much he played there.
Yeah, I think his first couple touches were all
Yeah,
spread out wide and catching the ball.
It makes sense though, because then you can get D'Angelo Williams on the field at the same time. It makes sense for them. I love betting with the Steelers because the public loves Pittsburgh. I heard a statistic that more like public money comes on Pittsburgh than any other team except for New England. And that's when Tom Brady's healthy. So, 82% like Pittsburgh by 7 at home. I'm gonna take a second. Who do you like in this? I'm still debating. This one's.
I will be amongst those people that like Pittsburgh by 7 at home. I think that Pittsburgh's defense isn't great, but there is one thing that they are, and that's opportunistic, and that's gonna play out with an offense like the Jets that turns over the ball at the rate that they do. And when you're turning over the ball and giving Ben Roethlisberger a short field like that, you know what he can do, and he did it. He did it last weekend, Sunday
I've
night.
actually been pretty surprised with Pittsburgh defense. I mean, they're not like an elite defense by any means, but they've been kind of holding their own this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Pittsburgh in the spot. I think 7 is actually kind of low, honestly, at home. I mean, I could see the spread being closer to 10 given the Jets' woes.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're giving the Jets some respect. That offense is too good. They're just the way they played against Kansas City. I mean, they're looking like a Super Bowl team.
We're gonna try to rebound it a little bit this week, but this is gonna be this week's Knox lock.
Oh, Pitt by 7.
So Pitt by
Love
7.
those big spreads, huh?
Gonna be my lock of the week. So moving on, this is gonna be the surprise. This is gonna be a better game than people kind of thought it would. But the Atlanta Falcons head to Denver. Probably a matchup of the two hottest teams in the NFL right now, not named Minnesota or Philly. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, I would. I think you hit it right there. Atlanta surprised us, man. Atlanta's always been like the last couple of years been at like close getting the conference championship, and then they started taking a decline with the rise of Carolina, and then they just come back with a push.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were ready to write them off.
Yeah,
And,
I think Dan Quinn. Not that he brought the Seattle vibe to Atlanta, but they're believing in him. Defense is playing much harder. I think Mohamed Sanu's big, and I think they have balance, which they never really had before. They had it last year, but I think the Tevin Coleman switching the pace helps a lot.
And yeah, no, I was about to compliment our former friend Kyle Shanahan.
Former friend, he's still my friend, bro.
He's still our boy. I mean, I always
love the Shanays.
If his last name was Smith or Johnson or something, he would be the head coach of the Redskins right now, and I have no doubt about that.
He's gonna be a head coach very, very soon.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got Matt Ryan doing what he does well, staying in the pocket, not doing these no bootleg action, no rolling out, like making throws on the run, and he's got the two running backs behind him running out of those formations. I think that's what the Falcons need to be doing, and that's showing now.
So as much, this is on a quick fantasy note.
Yeah.
As much as we want to tout us as fantasy experts, this is why fantasy football is completely unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Julio Jones is at New Orleans against historically one of the worst defenses of all time, Week 3.
Yeah.
Has one catch. And he was like a surefire start in every FanDuel lineup. He's one of the hottest picks. He has the most expensive receiver cost that week, I believe. Last week, you go against Carolina's defense. We know Carolina. I mean, one of the scariest defense the last couple of years. What do you do, Nux?
He 300 yards and one touchdown on about 12
Unbelievable.
catches, I think it was.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was like, really?
75 of those coming on one play.
I don't know how that happens. I really don't. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's he just abused those kids. It was those two rookie corners, and how much you think Carolina's missing Josh Norman right now?
yeah. I mean, that's what he said. This is what you get. This is what you pay for. But look at like Antonio Brown, what he did to the Skins. He literally like more than doubled that output, and we were like so worried about that. I mean,
Yeah,
I couldn't even imagine 300 yards. That's just unbelievable. Um, but he reminded people, he's like, he's. And I love how humble he is.
yeah.
He's so humble. Like Odell Beckham would take some notes from Julio Jones for sure.
Like flashback to earlier this year when we were talking about the bet between I think it was Antonio Brown
Brandon Marshall.
and Brandon
Yeah.
Marshall about who would have more yards, and they asked Julio about it. He's like, "I'm just gonna go play, man. I
Yeah, they
don't
were
care
like
about
betting
yards or
the
anything like
cards
that."
about it. And I love what he said. He said that he prefaced his comments by saying, first off, those are two great players. I'm just not worried about that. Which is
Yeah,
like, he complimented them. He's like, you can do whatever you want, but I'm not going to do that.
yeah.
So back to the game. The spread's at 6. Broncos favored by 6 at home. So Vegas is not really believing the Falcons, and they're loving what
Or
they see from the Broncos.
do you have our guesses there?
Yeah, so I guess 4.5, so a little closer. You had the Broncos by 3, so
Yeah,
you're basically equating those teams.
I thought. Yeah, no, I really thought they were. I really thought they were even on this one. I think the Broncos defense is great, but we saw Atlanta go up against a good defense last week, and then they were still effective. So I thought that this is gonna be a
Defense
good offense
is
versus a good defense.
special, man. This defense is. I am just like shocked. I watch them every week. I'm like, wow.
No, they are.
Every
They are
phase
great.
of their defense is so good, and they're
And
so deep too.
yeah, before we move on to the Broncos, real quick, there's doubts about Tevin Coleman playing in this game,
Yeah,
not because of injury or anything. He's got the sickle cell condition, the same one that Ryan Clark had that kept him from playing in Denver those few years. I mean, even if he does play, I think he's gonna be limited. So that's one thing to watch if you're gonna be setting your lineup for this weekend.
Yes,
So yeah, moving on to Denver, Trevor Siemian gets hurt. Paxton Lynch may have to start this game. I'm not sure yet. What did you think of the kid last week?
it looked the same as Trevor Siemian. I feel like Paxton Lynch came in, made the same throws. The game plan didn't change.
Yeah,
He filled exactly what void that Simeon was filling. They're still committed running the ball with CJ Anderson, and I don't think CJ Anderson's that good, but they have good O line, they have good defense. CJ Anderson's put in positions to do well, and he's been a very consistent fantasy option. Not really,
yes,
taking the top off your fantasy game, but he's been like consistent for like 10 to 15 points. Um, yeah, you got to think that those 300 yards won't happen against Aqib Talib or Chris Harris Jr. because those
yeah,
guys are, I think, especially Chris Harris, they're elite corners over there.
yeah, they are. I don't think it happens again. I'm gonna go with Denver laying 6 to Atlanta in this game.
Yeah, I like Denver too. I think the defense is too good. I think the game plan very good in this game, and I think Atlanta's on an emotional high, and I think Matt Ryan won't be able to sling it for 500 yards. I think like he did. Denver's just too good in Mile High.
I think they rattle Ryan this
I'm
week.
actually
So
interested to see what the public thinks. So it's actually public's on Atlanta, but it's about 53 to 47%. So they're pretty split on it. I'm not surprised. Public seeing the output that the Falcons offense did last week, but it's a whole different show on the road in Denver.
yeah. So okay. So moving on, Cincinnati and Andy Dalton visit Dallas this week. Ezekiel Elliott looked like the running back that we kind of thought he would be last week.
Yeah, don't look now. He's leading the league in rushing.
Yeah.
I
So
think some
that's
people were disappointed in his output this week. This year, he's leading the league in rushing.
yeah, that's exactly what we thought they would do. We thought they would bully people, push them around. They lose Lyle Collins this week, but still, the offensive line had no people parts to spare, so I don't see them. I don't see it affecting them too much.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think with Dallas is they've had a good schedule. Okay, that's fine, but Dak has looked so good. He's made no mistakes.
Yeah,
It's just done everything right. He loves Cole Beasley and Jason Witten. Like he just loves those two. Jason Witten was targeted 10 times last game. Jason
yeah,
Witten should not be targeted 10 times, but they're winning. So who's going to critique him here? Bengals. Wait, I can't believe this spread's so low. I just
yeah,
want to change it. So we both had it as a pick 'em, and
yeah.
now that I'm talking, I'm like, So Bengals are favored by 1.5.
Yeah.
I don't know how we didn't guess that. I'm just looking at myself like, how did I think this game was a pick 'em?
Yeah, I kind of looked at it. I kind of looked at a neutral site. I figured Bengals would be kind of a 3 point favorite, and then when I took the 3 points away,
Wait, neutral site as in like Dallas home field sucks?
no, like I mean, if you looked at it like a
Oh
neutral
yeah,
site game,
no,
you would
but
think that
yeah,
you would
but
think that Bengals probably like 3, 4 points
right,
better.
right, okay, yeah, because
So
no, Dallas has no home field advantage.
yeah, no, they
So
don't.
yeah, I don't know like who in their mom's gonna guard AJ Green.
I don't know. I'm Morris Claiborne, but that's Morris Claiborne.
Yeah, and I think that they Bengals have a good front, so I mean not they're gonna match up. They match up pretty well against that Cowboys O line, um, and this is
Physical secondary
this
too.
might be my pick of the week. I think the Bengals might romp them. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think they
All right,
might like actually beat them by 10 points.
here we
So
go. We got
Cincy.
next pick of the week here. So
Cincy.
I'm gonna go with Cincinnati too. So give me the laying 1.5 points. So you ready to move on to the next one? Or you got anything else on this one?
I think that's about it on this game. Yeah, I think the Bengals are routing in good form.
Yeah, I think it is what it is. So next one's a battle of the two hottest shitty teams in the NFL. Buffalo visits LA. Buffalo has back-to-back wins against the Cardinals and the Patriots, who are
Buffalo.
probably my Super Bowl matchup at the beginning of the year. LA is currently sitting atop the NFC West at 3-1. This one, I don't even know where to start with this one. Todd Gurley's probably needs to get things going at some point if LA is going to continue this. But their defense has been great so far. Jeff Fisher's probably above 500 for the first time in his career. I don't know. I don't know what else there really is to say about this one.
Didn't I tell you Rex Ryan pays Bill Belichick well? I know Brissett sucks, but I mean, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know to take too much out of that game because Brissett was absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
But I mean, give some respect to the Bills defense. And 16 points on the road, it's okay. I mean, it's not something to run home and tell mom about.
yeah,
This game is very ugly, and the over and under is at 40, so they're not expecting many points in this game. Man, so Sammy Watkins still out, but I like the way Shady McCoy's running. The Rams defense has been playing really well. Aaron Donald's been causing havoc. I'm going back and forth. So you guessed the Rams would be favored by 5 at home against the Bills. I guess 3.5. I was pretty close at 3. So Vegas thinks these teams are pretty equal. I mean, just because I don't know who to pick, I think they're very evenly matched. I'm going to go with the underdog and take the points and take the Bills on the road. So they might get a push with a field goal, or they might win.
yeah. I'm gonna go with. I'm actually gonna go with the Rams
Thought
because
about it.
I just the cross country flight. That's the only factor. I
Does
think
Jared Goff play a game this year?
I'm gonna go with no.
That's crazy.
I think Case Keenum's been adequate.
Think about like those fans and they see what Wentz is doing. They
Yeah.
must be like, oh, by pulling their hair.
Why? Yeah, why? Like almost. Who do you think feels worse, the Rams or the Browns?
Yeah. Okay. The Browns are just yeah. Probably the Browns.
Probably the Browns.
But at the same time, it's like I think the Browns are used to it, and like with the Rams, like they like messed us up with that RG3 trade. They have so many assets on defense. They have a pretty good offensive line, and this was their move, and it seemed like a no brainer. But I mean, you take the Cal 5-star quarterback over some guy from South Dakota, makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's unbelievable what's going on there.
Hopefully, yeah. I hope he does well, but
Dude, if Jeff Fisher does not finish 8-8, I'm gonna go crazy. He really needs to finish 8-8. Every NFL fan wants him to finish 8-8.
this is pretty much spotting him 2 games. He's got to get there. So, all right. So we'll move on from there. We made our picks already. So, San Diego at Oakland. Again, another. Both teams are who they are. San Diego's trying to rebound from injuries. Melvin Gordon's actually leading the league in rushing touchdowns right now, surprisingly. Tied with Carlos Hyde. Oakland. I mean, Oakland looks good. I
Yeah,
guess.
I mean they traveled cross country, went to Baltimore last week, won by a point in a very competitive game. I was really impressed with David Carr, and more impressed that I'm in Michael Crabtree. People forget how talented this guy was coming out of college and how he still is. And
Yeah.
Amari Cooper gets all the the spotlight and all that. Crabtree's a great receiver. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NFL.
Who do you rather have in fantasy right now, Crabtree or Cooper, rest of the year?
So I think it looks like Cooper's getting more targets, more yards, but it looks like in the end zone they're going straight to Crabtree. Like he
Yeah.
has a connection with Derek Carr, and honestly, I think it's like a coin flip. I wouldn't be. I probably like Amari Cooper because I just think he's has more potential to break one. Um, but I mean, I think it's pretty close. It's closer than people think.
No, definitely. I think it's yeah. You can pick what you want, but I think both receivers are great. They're probably one of the best combos in the league right now.
So let's look at the Chargers. So they've blown two really big leads this year. Week 1 against KC, they were up like 28-0. They lost that game at home.
Yeah.
Last week, I think they had like a 14 or 10 point lead against the Saints. Saints came roaring back in the fourth quarter. They lose that at home. They have a lot of issues.
I think it's I think I saw a stat. It was out of all the teams that have been up 14 points in the fourth quarter, there's only been 3 losses, and all 3 are by the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers are one of the teams I hate betting on because like you never know what Phillip Rivers are going to see. Like there's a potential for good Phillip Rivers, and he could beat almost anyone.
Yeah.
I think they have too many losses. Antonio Gates is questionable. He's probably not going to play. He seems banged up. Keenan Allen's that loss was huge for them. I like the Raiders in the spot, and their defense is very balanced. You had the spread at the Raiders by 5 at home. I had 4.5. It's at 4. I like that spot. I mean, it's a divisional game, but I think Raiders are a much better team, much more balanced, and I think they like Jack Del Rio. I heard they call him Black Jack Rio because he's making so many chances.
Yeah.
He's just a very
He's the new Riverboat Ron.
he's a guy that you want to play for. I mean, it seems like a guy everyone's bought in there.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I think that with that line, I got to go with Oakland.
Yo, real quick, last week, you know who Pro Football's #1 cornerback was?
Last week,
Like up to last week. So
David
started
Emerson?
Week 4. Yeah. Like that's unbelievable. I'm like, how is this guy the best cornerback in the
Oh, boy.
NFL? But he is playing really well, and I gotta give it to him. I mean, he turned his career around.
I think we saw flashes of it in his first year.
Yeah.
His issue in Washington was that he was up all night playing Madden, and he didn't want to.
Yeah, I mean,
He didn't want to rest up and play. And then he said
that's what we do, but we don't have to play a game in the morning. Yeah, he looks great. Maybe the scheme fits him better. I don't know what it is, but I'm okay. I'm kind of happy for him. I'm like, okay, like David Emerson, good for you. I mean, he had his career rejuvenized.
And one thing, if you if Hunter Henry for whatever reason is still available in your league, go out and pick him up because I don't think Antonio Gates is gonna be right for a while.
He's getting like 8 to 10 targets a game too. He's
Yeah.
like a tight end leaders for targets. So I think Phillip Rivers is looking for a connection with someone. He's like, come on, someone connect with me. Travis Benjamin, please. Tyrell Williams, please. No, okay, you're next. Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry's like, all right, yeah, I'll be your friend, Phil.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we're both on the Raiders in this game.
Yeah.
What do you think? Chargers, no?
No, I'm
At
definitely
the
going.
same time, would you be surprised if the Chargers go to Oakland and win?
Oh no, yeah, absolutely not.
I would like completely see that because that's just what you expect from such an unpredictable team.
Yeah,
To go on the road and win Oakland.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised because I mean they definitely have the talent. It's just about putting it together, which they haven't been able to do yet.
Yep.
So moving on, Sunday night we got the Giants visiting Green Bay. Green Bay's coming off a bye. Another week of healing for Jordy Nelson. I think that the Giants kind of might rally around what Odell's doing right now. I don't know. What do you think?
So looking at the spread, you guessed the Packers would be favored at 6 at home. I said 5. Vegas thinks Packers are much better than that 7.5. And I think part that has to do with that is that we made these picks before last night's game. No, we made it this morning. I'm lying. So Packers are actually historically good coming off a bye. I think that they're at the spread is like number 1 out of any team. I don't know. I mean, they're just a good team at home, and I think coming off the bye, I mean, this seems like a good spot for them. 7.5 is a little too rich for my liking, though. I like maybe 6.5, but 7.5. Giants might bounce back. I'm worried about the Giants' balance on offense. I don't think they can really. I mean, you saw Rainey get a lot of like PPR yards at the end.
Yeah.
But like they're not they try to run the ball. They're not that good at running team. Eli Manning just slinging it, and
See, their problem is that they need all three of the running backs that they have right now to be one person.
yeah,
They need a running back that can run like Darkwa,
yeah,
catch like Rainey, and explode like
Rashad,
Perkins
yeah.
can.
Uh,
So, but they're not gonna get that. And the
you
problem with
forgot
Perkins is they can't block
you don't
or
like
he'd be
Rashad
injured.
Jennings, bro?
I mean, we'll see if he plays. He almost played last night. I
Yeah,
just, I mean, the people that are just watching the video and didn't listen to it on the podcast. We talked about Odell's comments today, saying that he's not having fun playing anymore, and he wants to get the ball and he wants to focus on the game and not on, I guess, the arguments he's getting into with corners. And I gotta think that they're gonna rally around that. And you gotta see Sterling Shepard breaks his streak of 100-yard games, start his career at 3. I gotta think that's gonna change too.
I'm kind of worried about the situation, But Bob McAdoo came out and said he had to like keep his feelings in house and like reserved and stuff like that. And there's a lot of animosity here. Odell is a diva, and it's hard. It's gonna be hard for him to change. I don't think it's an overnight thing. You think it is? Like I thought he would change early this year. Then he against like the Redskins meltdown. Next week he comes back, does more shit.
Same thing, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I think
I
they
mean,
got to know what they
his
have.
talent is so immense that like there was one ball, and if you saw it against Minnesota, it was like a deep ball, and he like tried to haul it in one hand. He almost got it.
They almost
Like
did it, yeah.
his almost catches are as good as his catches because they're just so like insanely out of this world.
Yeah. So I mean, this
Just,
game, I mean, yeah,
Packers
7.5.
at home. I don't know. Okay, maybe I don't know if Packers cover because Packers have had their own issues. I mean, they haven't. They've had some flashes where like, oh, when Jordy was back, they look like the old Packers, but they haven't sustained like the dominant Packers of like going up 40-0, like just slinging the ball.
See, I think they get back to that this week. I think this is gonna be one of those Aaron Rodgers 3 touchdowns in the first half
So
games.
every time the Packers on like Sunday night or Monday night, something weird happens, right?
Yeah.
Like some Hail Mary or something weird, like some crazy shit happens. This may be
Yeah.
one of those games. You have a lot of spotlight players in this game.
I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna take the Packers. For
I
the
like
next 7.5.
whatever. I'm gonna say the over under because I think the over might be good in this one. I think there's gonna be a lot of points, but
There's gonna be a lot of points. I think that stadium's gonna be
so like
fired up for this one.
47. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Packers. I think at home they're coming off a bye. Very good team at home.
You gotta feel one of those classic Aaron Rodgers scramble out of the pocket and throw some ridiculous pass that Jordy Nelson adjusts to on the sideline. You know what's
Right.
gonna happen in this game.
I think it will too. And one thing is, I think they're feeling immense pressure from the Vikings' success. If they want to win the division, Vikings are 4-0. Almost every game's a must win.
They can't sleep their way to the playoffs.
Yeah,
This
and they
time.
already lost against the Vikings, so they're really down on the head to head. So this game's like almost every game. I mean, they want to win the division. They don't want a wild card. So it's a big game for them. So I think we're both on the Giants. A little rich for my liking, but 7.5. Why not?
Yeah, no, I'm taking the Packers 7.5.
Yeah, that's what I meant. 7.5.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
Packers for both of us.
yeah. So the next game, the finale of the week, Tampa Bay visits Carolina. I actually couldn't find the spread on this one. It's not out yet. A little bit early in the
See if
week
I can
for that.
find it. So what'd you guess?
So I guessed -4,
You guess -4. I guess -6. Let's just say the spread's around that time, like around
-5.
Yeah.
So, with I guess I mean the biggest question is obviously going to be is Cam Newton going to play or not? He has another
He
concussion.
got fucked up, bro.
He did. Yeah.
He was not even looking. This guy just laid him out, and it's crazy because like any other quarterback would want flying 50 yards. He got a touchdown on that play, right? Or like
Yeah,
a
he
two-point conversion.
he got hit, took a step back, and then dove into the end zone.
Yeah, and like any other player, you would have felt the impact more. But it's like, oh, it's Cam Newton. He doesn't feel anything. He's like 6'7".
Yeah.
He feels stuff, and he got a concussion, and he's been doing it a lot.
Yeah, so I mean I mean it's gonna rely on that. I mean I don't think Derek Anderson looked fine when he came in. He
Yeah.
spread the ball around like everyone.
He had some
everyone
flashes. I was like, remember that season Derek Anderson had 27 touchdowns with the Browns
Yeah,
and 11 interceptions?
just like
This
that.
guy's
That was
legit.
that was the classic. It's like no, that was with the Cardinals when he was when
Oh,
nothing
was it the
funny for him.
Cardinals? Okay.
No. What
thought
you're
it was
talking
the
about was with the Browns. I was thinking of the famous post game press conference where where they asked him why he was laughing on the sideline.
Oh, Derek Anderson?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
where he like I wasn't laughing. I don't think anything's funny. Nothing's funny to me.
Nothing's funny. Interesting game. Panthers got exposed last couple weeks. They're 1-3. If there's a must win at home, this team has been dominant at home last couple years. Not this year, but they've been dominant. Like people didn't go to Carolina and win, let alone like lose by a touchdown. If we're assuming the spread's a touchdown or less, which I assume so with Carolina's struggles, and I think the public likes Tampa Bay a lot.
They do.
Jameis Winston's very resilient. They have great options. Those rookie cornerbacks, as Mike Evans. Oh man,
That's gonna be another abuse game coming up. I think Jameis bounces back this week. There's been people talking about Dirk Cutter wanting to pull the reins on him a little bit, but I think in this game they're gonna have to throw, and I think that Jameis gets it done.
So I think Doug Martin might be back for this game. He's questionable. Oh no,
No,
I think he's out a little more.
he's
Yeah,
still gonna-
he's out a little more.
He's got a few weeks to go.
Damn, Charles Sims is questionable too. So I don't know who the third string running back is, but I mean that's got to be some concern for Tampa Bay.
I think it's Jacques Rogers in
I
Tampa.
think you're right.
Yeah.
And talking about Carolina, I mean, same theme about running backs. I mean, I think they're really like that. Jonathan Stewart, like even though he was never like amazing for them, that was like a big loss for them. I think they haven't really found the right guy with the two-headed monster they have over there with Fozzie and who's the other
Cameron
one?
Artis-Payne.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess we can kind of split this and say with Cam and without Cam.
This is definitely a bounce back spot. So with Cam, I think they absolutely covered. I think they went by like 10 or 12 to 14. I think Jameis has one of those like 4 big games.
You think one of those 4 big games? Okay. Yeah, with Cam, I think they definitely cover for sure. Without Cam, I think this might be actually no, I'm still gonna take Carolina.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Carolina.
I think David Anderson, Derek Anderson is serviceable for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely like he's no slouch. He's not a rookie quarterback. Although apparently like rookie quarterbacks are like the best thing ever since sliced bread.
Apparently. I mean,
I don't know. It's unbelievable. Just throw all your logic out the window nowadays.
It's just re-sign Jimmy Clausen and play him and see what happens.
Right. Absolutely.
So okay, that's gonna be week 5. We'll see how we did this week. Those of you on the YouTube channel, thank you for joining us. Nick, you got anything before we get out?
So what's your lock? My lock. Well, your lock was the Steelers, right?
Yep.
Steelers at home against
Steelers
the
minus 7
Jets.
at home against the Jets.
Mine was what? Hold on, I gotta get this. Was it the Broncos? Shit, I don't know. No, it wasn't the Broncos. Oh, it was the Bengals. At the Cowboys.
Bengals. Yeah.
Oh, dude, parlay that, swimming in money.
All right. Well, thank you for checking out the Nik Nak YouTube channel. Those of you listening on the podcast, we'll be back